Poems, songs, and stories are the synthesis and manifestation of our dream and physical worlds. As I am the product of many people, places, and experiences, likewise, these expressions these poems are a reflection of science and the truth of mythology. These poems jump with juju, float on prayers of sage and sweet grass, remember Zion and the rugged cross, look eastward to Islam, peace. Dance with Krishna, bop with Buddha, and sing E=MC square, more or less. These poems have seen red moons rise over the pyramids of ancient Egypt and Maya lands. These poems know that not only are the pyramids still standing, but equally yet still falling, and feel humbled and blessed in the vastness of the universe. These poems have suckled at an Afro-Karma woman's breast, known the tenderness of a father's rough and red-brown earth hands. These poems have been scorched by the fire of an Ethiopian woman's eyes, healed by an Afro sister's aloe love, shocked by the firstborn sweet thunder, learned the Broinqua blues, and had vision renewed by Eden Lucia. These poems have danced on a bridge called Tomorrow, while the music of a youth sang in this old one's ears, witness to the dawn. These poems dance on a bridge called Tomorrow, while the music of youth sing, 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 witness to the dawn. These poems have known the cultural, political, and spiritual zombies that move amongst us every day, causing confusion and death, and I am not afraid. These poems know the tyranny of silence and scream. These poems believe that the Creator will gather all those who are scattered, not knowing that earth is home, earth is home. Believe that after much struggle, storm, and wisdom hard won, the meek will inherit this same earth, transformed. These poems mourn and celebrate. These poems have their feet on a road moving toward tomorrow, seeking only the peace of oneness. These poems, stories, songs, sing for you. Welcome. Good evening. I wrote that a long time ago, and probably a good 30 years ago. And it feels like I really didn't know what I was writing at the time. There's a whole lot of ways I don't really feel like I'm a writer, like most writers are writers that have this discipline of sitting down in the morning or the evening and writing. I pretty much wait on the Spirit to talk to me. And if the spirits don't talk to me, I don't necessarily write a poem. I might write other things. One of my mentors was a guy named Hakim Adabuti, whom I met when I returned to Chicago after living here for quite a while. I came to Minnesota to go to college, and in retrospect, all of that seems very different than it seemed to me at the time. But I went from the south side of Chicago, an African-American community. I really did grow up in a community. I had other parents, other aunts and uncles, other sisters, brothers, cousins that I was deeply related to. And it took me a long time to figure out that that practice of extended family was something very African. And over time, I began to discover, as I met more and more people here, that it was also a very Mexican thing. It was a very Somali thing, an Ethiopian thing. I mean, a rural German, Norwegian kind of thing. You know, like everybody had some form of this. And I also began to understand that modern Western world was in complete opposition to that kind of relationship amongst people. Because I grew up in that on the south side of Chicago, when I eventually moved to the Twin Cities, my survival strategy was to build an extended family, to build a community. And because of the makeup of that, my extended family began to be this incredible mix of people that I discovered I had some kind of heart connection to. And some of you are here. You know who you are. Yes, you do. So I want to jump to why I came up with this idea of Mestizos. What did I say? Mestizos?
Nuevo Mestizo.
Yeah, that. It was partially because I read a book, I think it was in the 80s, called Borderlands, or La Frontera. And it was written by a woman named Gloria Anzaldúa. And reading this book really began to give me a way to, understand the life I had been living. This book was very important, and also a woman named, oh, my poor memory, Aurora. Yeah, she wrote a book with her mother back in the 80s, and her talking about being Jewish and being Puerto Rican and all the levels of what it means to be Puerto Rican. I was like identifying with that. It like made sense to me. Also, the experiences that I had meeting Amos Owen at the Prairie Island Reservation and being brought into ceremonies and being taught by him by a good 7 years. A lot of things began to fall into place. I actually I had an opportunity to meet Gloria at a queer studies conference in 1993 that was held at University of Iowa in Iowa City. And I had just gotten a grant from St. Paul Companies as a community-based artist. And I was trying to figure out what do I need to do in order to make best advantage of this year. And that was one of the things that came up because it just seemed to me really important to like digest that because I had already been reading feminist writings by feminists of color. And they seemed to be, to me, the most radical folks at the time, maybe still. Because it seems like they had a lot more reason to break out of bounds. And I've had a really good relationship with a lot of progressive women. Meridel Lesueur was a mentor. Gwendolyn Brooks was a mentor. Other women, and I've actually been invited to, from time to time, women's ceremonies. And kind of asked to hold a certain kind of place. So I don't know why this happened, but it happened. And so I feel like I need to be responsible for the people that gave to me. Like all the ancestors that came before, I think they knew that we were coming and they suffered through a lot.